Hello, everybody. Hi. Can folks have a seat for a second? Oh, wow, that's great. Hello. All right. I have to say, I appreciate all the energy and enthusiasm in the room because I am truly, deeply excited to be here. And as I was walking around and talking to several of you, you were sharing that exact same sentiment, that feeling of, at last, we are coming out and doing things in a way that we used to. So, well, we're finally here. I assume that for many of you like me, you're returning to some pre-pandemic activities, and tonight's Employee Recognition Evening feels particularly important. I was happy to be at the Rising Ground Gala in March, and last week to participate in our first in-person new employee orientation in 2 years. But tonight feels momentous in other ways. I've been going to the office in Brooklyn and have even popped in at a few of our locations. But the truth is, I haven't been out and about in the same way as I used to be. And I miss the in-person connection with my colleagues, with all of you. I have really missed that connection. And so I'm happy to see you now. For staff who are celebrating 5-year anniversaries, a significant portion of their experience, about 40%, has been during the pandemic. And that just feels quite strange. And so I'm glad that that is increasingly behind us. Tonight, we honor our colleagues for excellence of their work, as well as for length of service and dedication to our mission. It is also a great moment to reconnect and to look forward as we continue to emerge from really the tremendous challenges that we have faced and a great deal of loss. But I am hopeful, and I know all of you are, that that is behind us, and that better days are to come. Things have been hard. Illness, isolation, disruption of routines, all associated with the pandemic, and then there's a lot of other crazy that's going on in the world, whether it's social, economic, political, and even global. And yet, our individual and collective work has gone on. I was talking to one colleague just a couple minutes ago about exactly that, about how wonderful that really is. Through it all that Rising Ground, roughly there's about 120 of us here in the room tonight, and there's another 1,300 Rising Ground staff members, some of whom are working in locations right now, and others maybe are watching us on this live stream that's going on. And others are just home recuperating from their day. All of us, all roughly 1,400 of us, have remained steadfast in our efforts to help our neighbors through our organization's programs and services that help children, adults, and families to move upward and forward in their lives by helping them to find a solid foundation from which to grow. It has not stopped being amazing to me that together the employees of Rising Ground accomplished so much and have had such a positive impact on the lives of so many people, our neighbors, every day. I was amazed during the pandemic, I was amazed before the pandemic, and I will continue to be amazed by the work that everybody here in this room and our colleagues do every day. It's a lot to be proud of. The enduring commitment to service is worth celebrating, and we are doing so tonight at Employee Recognition Evening. We have a nice evening planned. We are back at Eastwood Manor after a 2-year absence. I will say I just had a couple of those little pigs in the blanket, which I miss, and so that was delicious, and so we're off to a good start. It'll be a fun evening for sure. It'll be celebratory, but it's also a serious evening in that we are expressing our gratitude to people who serve others. And really, honestly, there's no more important work. I cannot think of a better way to pass a Wednesday night. I can't think of a better group of people to spend it with than you, and I'm looking forward to the evening ahead. So let's have some dinner. That's going to be our first part, and I'm going to pop back in a few minutes after that. So what we're going to do, these kind folks are all set up in a buffet style. You see it starts at the end, where sort of to where Patrick was standing. He's pointing that way. And how we're going to do it, I'm just going to ask you to try to move as quickly as possible to get back to your seats so that we can start the program in about a half hour, okay? So I'm just going to turn to you for a second, Angela, and how is somebody going to be calling the tables? And we'll just start just right now, table 15 at 13, if you would stand up and go from there, and then Angela will start calling the rest of the tables from here on out. All right, enjoy your dinner, and I will be back up in about a half hour. So let's try to get back in our seats as soon as possible. Thank you. All right, enjoy.
Today, Rising Ground, a leading nonprofit human services organization, celebrates our 190th anniversary. 190 years of providing children, adults, and families in the New York City area with the resources and skills to rise above adversity and positively direct their lives. 190 years of growth, of change, and responding to the needs of the community.
190 years of creating hope and opportunity. During those 190 years, Rising Ground, like the city of New York, has evolved considerably. The story of Rising Ground is the story of New York, and the story of New York is ours.
Today, we are more than 50 programs strong at more than 70 locations across New York City and Westchester County. We touch the lives of more than 25,000 people each year. We help people address a wide range of challenges to move forward in their lives and thrive.
The work we do, like the city itself, looks very different than when we were founded in 1831. But since our very beginning, we've supported those most in need to navigate life's challenges and positively direct their lives.
For a homeless or abandoned child, the streets of New York City in the 1800s were a cruel and friendless place. Waves of immigration from across Europe, paired with the changing urban landscape of the Industrial Revolution, led to a rapid expansion of the city.
This brought prosperity to some people, but many were less fortunate. Children and adults who scrabbled for a meager mouthful, and in many cases, failed to survive. By the mid-1800s, it's estimated that there were 30,000 homeless children on the streets of Manhattan.
Some New Yorkers were concerned about the fate of these children. Mr. John George Leake, a New York attorney without children or siblings, died leaving an unsigned and undated will. This stipulated that his money be used to create a home for orphan children. His best friend, John Watts Jr., was tasked with the creation of the home.
A wealthy man and a public servant, John Watts Jr. honored the wishes of his friend. Before his own death, Watts formed a group of trustees to establish the Leake and Watts Orphan House to foster, educate, and protect orphans. These founding trustees included notable New Yorkers such as the mayor, the city's recorder, and the leaders of several Protestant churches of various denominations. Among them was the rector of Trinity Church, of which both men had been members and where initial planning meetings were held.
The Leake and Watts Orphan House was one of the country's first private child welfare institutions. The founding documents declared it would support the maintenance and education of helpless orphan children, no matter their creed or nationality. At the time, many of those we welcomed were considered less equal because of their nationality or religious affiliation. As the population of New York City has grown and evolved, so have the faces of those we support over the past 190 years.
For nearly a decade, the new institution was based near Trinity Church in what is now Lower Manhattan. In 1838, the cornerstone was laid for a new orphan home at what is now 110th and Amsterdam, an area then considered far outside the city. The Greek Revival building, today serves as the Cathedral of St. John the Divine Choir School. The first residents who moved in 1843 were 60 boys described as full orphans who were housed, fed, clothed, and educated. Some children went on to be adopted. Others were given apprenticeships to prepare them for independent adulthood.
In 1850, 20 girls were admitted. Children were housed in large dormitories with rows of cots. Cost of provisions was 10 cents per day per child, which went up 3 cents after the Civil War. In need of greater space and as the city grew around the orphan house, Leake and Watts bought a 40-acre farm on the Bronx-Yonkers border. The previous property was sold as plans were made to break ground for the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Moving in 1890, the Yonkers campus was a tremendous improvement for the children, with grounds designed by Frederick Law Olmsted and a building designed by architect Charles C. Haight. With ample space for the children to run and play, it provided a chance to participate in normal childhood activities and gave them a sense of security that many had not experienced before.
By the early 1900s, care for disadvantaged children was evolving, and Leake and Watts was rising to meet newer, more compassionate goals. Expanding beyond our earliest days as an orphanage, we sought to provide for the emotional, psychological, and physical needs of those we serve. This laid the foundations for our increasingly multifaceted work that strengthens families and provides educational experiences to help children succeed.
In 1905, the grandson of John Watts Jr., General John Watts de Peyster, bequeathed Rose Hill Farm at Tivoli, New York. The land was soon used as a year-round residence for some of the children and as a summer camp for all, reflecting modern ideas of child development coming from the naturalist movement. In 1908, children of single parents, known as half-orphans, whose homes had broken up because of poverty, were boarded along with their mothers under Leake and Watts' care. In 1917, we established an ungraded class, a forerunner to today's special education programs, with a specially trained teacher.
2 years later, we held our first official grammar school graduation, although we had educated all children from our earliest days. The Leake and Watts Farm School was established at Tivoli for the older boys, training them for farm work. In 1921, an association with philanthropist Edwin Gould began when he gave the Yonkers campus our first swimming pool.
His beloved nieces and nephews were adopted from Leake and Watts during this time. Edwin Gould's Services for Children and Families was founded in 1923, but he continued to give generously to Leake and Watts. This relationship will come full circle nearly 100 years later, when the organization becomes a part of Rising Ground in 2018. In 1922, we began transitioning from dormitories for large groups of children to more family-like housing. Cottages were built to house 8 to 12 girls, with cottage parents. At first, the boys remained in dormitories, but eventually also moved into cottages and experienced the more individualized care that was the primary benefit of the cottage system.
A report at the time sums up life at Leake and Watts. Plenty of wholesome food, fresh air, outdoor sports, and a good time all year round combined to make the health record of our youngsters an excellent one. Adele Ross, a longtime resident of Brooklyn, has vivid memories of her time at Leake and Watts during this period.
I am 97 years old, and the thought of Leake and Watts brings back many memories. Due to domestic violence, the Ross family was falling apart. It was 1928-29. Mom looked for help and found it in Leake and Watts. They took the 2 boys and sent them to Yonkers at a foster home, and then on to Amityville, Long Island. They stayed together, and Mom was able to visit them from time to time. I was born with a deformed right leg. I believe it was the Edwin Gould Foundation that sent me to a hospital in Brooklyn, where I received a bone transplant. This was in 1928. I was 4 or 5, and I remember it well. I wore a brace for 2 to 3 years, and when the brace was removed, all signs of deformity were gone. Mom put up with so much abuse and violence. This was the turnaround for her and the Ross family. So thank you from the late Ross family and my mom for saving our family.
The needs for our services only grew as New York City and the nation entered the Great Depression. By 1930, we had 550 children in our care and a reputation as one of the most modern, far-seeing institutions in the country. In 1937, we opened a new social services department with trained social workers. As the field of social work came into its own, this put us in the forefront of providing therapeutic care to our children.
Henry Igov was one of the children who benefited from the opportunities made available to him while with us from 1934 to 1943, before a long career with the New York Telephone Company, retiring to Florida with his wife Irene in 1989.
I remember Coach Ludbach's football team that went undefeated and unscored upon, and the great athletics programs that were offered to us. Fond memory is of Prince, our German Shepherd mascot. I remember working to make the list so I could go to the Park Hill movies, and on a Saturday marching up Broadway in the Drum and Bugle Corps to publicize Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland's appearances. I am thankful for the care, education, and friendship during my stay.
As stipulated by our founders in 1831, our work has touched communities of color over many decades. In 1886, the agency admissions philosophy was summarized by then Superintendent, Reverend Richard Hayden, as not discriminating over forms of religion and distinctions of color and race. In 1942, this policy was mandated for all child welfare organizations in New York City via the Race Discrimination Amendment. This formalized our longstanding practice of welcoming all disadvantaged children.
As the nation's attention turned overseas during World War II, the needs of the families here in New York brought more change. In 1944, a new foster home department was created to formalize the care of our children by families in the community. In 1945, we sold the Tivoli property as social services shifted back towards the city. During that time, our children began attending schools in the community to enable them to mix with their contemporaries. In the next few years, we entered a period of exceptional growth. Through mergers with the Orphan Home and Asylum of the Protestant Episcopal Church in New York in 1947, and with the Sevilla Hopewell Society in 1949, our service area now included multiple programs and many more children and families. Our residential campus also grew with the building of 4 more cottages in the next decade. By 1960, the social service staff numbered 30 members, an acknowledgement of the more complex issues facing our children and families as time went on.
Carolyn Page Henry came to Leek & Watts in 1966, leaving an abusive past behind. Living in Gould Cottage on the Yonkers campus, she began to excel and earned a full scholarship to Howard University and became a dedicated teacher for 37 years.
It was my extended family at Leek & Watts who took a young, angry, insecure girl and helped to transform her into a laser-focused, confident, respectful young woman ready to enter the real world. They envisioned a bigger dream for me than I could have possibly dared to dream for myself. For them, I am now and will always be eternally grateful.
In the late 60s, New York City Mayor John Lindsay formalized care for children and youth with the creation of the Bureau of Child Welfare. The forerunner to today's administration of children's services, the government agency has had several names and configurations. As the city created structures, standards, and regulations that would apply to all child welfare, we worked closely with leaders to share our expertise in the field. Over the next 50 years, we would draw on our long-standing experience helping children and families in need and extended our expertise and resources to many new neighborhoods, new communities, and new populations. This new era has seen considerable geographic expansion. In 1979, we began to do even greater outreach into the communities our children had historically come from with the establishment of the East Bronx Family Service Center. By the time we partnered with Edwin Gould Services for Children and Families in 2018, our programs had reached all 5 boroughs and Westchester as we formally moved our headquarters to Brooklyn.
We have also seen considerable changes to our services and the populations we support. In 1971, we opened the Hudson View School, our first special education facility, a forerunner of today's Biondi Education Center. In 1997, we completed construction on a new building on the Yonkers campus to house the Biondi Middle and High School. And in 2000, we added the Biondi Elementary School.
In 1985, we were the first organization in the nation to find nurturing foster homes for babies with HIV/AIDS, becoming a national model. By 1991, 112 HIV-infected children were being cared for by 73 specially chosen foster families.
In 1986, 12 women at the Bedford Hills Women's Prison testified to their histories of battering and how that abuse related to their criminal charges. From this, Sister Mary Nerney established STEPS to End Family Violence, which is now part of Rising Ground's anti-gender-based violence program that focuses on prevention, intervention, and policy advocacy.
In 1987, we assumed operation of 5 early childhood centers, formerly operated by the Sunshine Ladies, who had been providing early childhood education to low-income families since 1926. In the coming decades, our focus on early childhood education and development would open new opportunities through center-based and in-home programs for children and their parents. Today, we provide targeted support by working with families to help children with special education needs, those exhibiting signs of autism, and families with limited resources to make the most progress possible in the most important years of development.
In the late 80s, we expanded our group home services to teenage mothers and their children, mirroring our early work supporting single mothers. We have since continued this work, providing residential support for young adults aging out of foster care and for homeless and runaway youth, focusing on independent living skills for these vulnerable populations.
In 1996, we became one of the first human services organizations in the country to include juvenile justice services, as this field shifted toward a more therapeutic approach to address the root causes of delinquent behavior. Today, this work has evolved into a wide-reaching set of programs that work with teens who have been court-involved or who are at risk. In various settings, we work with youth to understand trauma that has led to past actions and work on positive decisions.
In 2004, we began to support children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And in 2007, opened our first group home in the Bronx for young adults with developmental disabilities. Today, we run more than 20 IDD residences that facilitate the most independent life possible. We also work with families and provide vocational and recreational support in the community.
By the dawn of the 21st century, the notion of an orphan was a distant memory. Government agencies and nonprofit organizations worked instead to provide children and their families with the resources and skills to stay together, fully integrated into the community and at home whenever possible.
Our bucolic campus that had once served as a safe haven for orphan children was giving way to more community-embedded programs. The nurturing environment we had built over centuries did lend itself to safety, recovery, and growth. And in the coming decades, it would prove an ideal home for distinct populations.
In 2009, we transformed our existing cottages and launched our Residential Treatment Center, a specialized residential program to meet the needs of youth with severe emotional, developmental, and behavioral challenges, and ultimately help them to live as independently as possible.
In 2014, we opened our Passage of Hope Unaccompanied Migrant Child program. Through the program, we provide temporary shelter for children who cross the border alone into the United States. Passage of Hope offers a nurturing environment for children after they complete a journey filled with uncertainty, trauma, and often painful memories of the homelands they left. We work to connect children and youth with sponsors in this country. In less than a decade, this program has evolved to address the many unique needs of these children, and it has grown to be one of our biggest programs as we expand into new areas of immigration services.
My name is Heidi. I am from Guatemala, where it is the tradition for girls to marry and have children at age 13. To escape that life, 4 years ago, I traveled for 59 days to reach the Mexico-US border to ask for asylum. When I crossed, I was detained in a very cold facility and after 2 days was sent to New York. In a short time, I was taken to rising ground at Yonkers, and for the first time I began to feel safe, although it was very strange to me. After 3 months, since I didn't have a sponsor, I was transferred to the foster home of Eustacia. She received me as a family member. In fact, Eustacia's youngest daughter says I am the younger sister that Eustacia never gave her. In June, I graduated from high school, and I will be starting at Lehman College soon. I took all my classes in English. I have been thinking about what Rising Ground did for me. It was an opportunity that helped me open my mind, and it helped me see what I really wanted in my life. I see Eustacia as my mother, but she is more than my mother, because she has done more than my mother has done for me. Oh wow, I'm going to cry.
Decades of expansion, both in geography and in programming, has created an organization whose work, reach, and impact bears little resemblance to the Leek and Watts Orphan House. However, the same spirit to help New Yorkers overcome life's challenges and thrive remains alive and well.
To better reflect the multifaceted organization we have become, we changed our name to Rising Ground in 2018. To pay homage to our long-standing history, the new logo boasts our tagline, Paths to Positive Change Since 1831. We care for children, adults, and families and help them to move upward and forward in their lives. Whether it's providing aid and comfort to children on city streets in 1831, or today, providing unaccompanied migrant children a place to complete their journey to hope and opportunity.
At Rising Ground, we have given to New Yorkers for 190 years what our earliest founders had envisioned for children in peril. A chance to be children again. An opportunity to have enough food, clothing, shelter, and joy. A life without trauma, violence, and poverty. A rebuilding of emotional strength and trust.
Being a member of the community, valued and seen. Clinical, therapeutic, educational, and case management services to children and families. Opportunities for those we support to elevate themselves and support future generations. Rising Ground is a force for positive change in 5 boroughs of New York City and Westchester County. Our influence reaches out across generations and geography and points the way to other nonprofit organizations through our history of compassion and innovation.
We are proud of our 190 years of service. We believe it would have made John George Leek, John Watts Jr., and Edwin Gould proud to see what their vision has accomplished. Today, on our 190th anniversary, we are forever grateful for our alumni, our almost 2 centuries of loyal and dedicated employees, and the continued generosity of our donors.
For as long as we are needed, we will help those we support to find footing on solid ground and to move forward toward better futures.
Hey, everybody. So I hope that you are enjoying your meal. The food is open, and you should feel free, if you get hungry, to head on up there and take some more. And the bar is open, so you can enjoy that as well. But we're going to begin the program, okay? And so here we go. It's time for the main event. Tonight, I'm going to be calling out a lot of names, and many people are going to come up here to have a moment in the spotlight. Now, it may be, how many of you know anything, have you ever paid attention to this thing called the Met Gala? Who's ever heard about the Met Gala? Oh, a good number of you know about the Met Gala, right? Like the Metropolitan Museum of Art, they have this giant gala. It's like the big social event of the season here in New York. I've never been invited. But like, you know, it's a big deal, and everybody's wearing these great outfits. And in fact, this year I was I don't watch it, but like for some reason I caught this crazy outfit for what's her name, Blake Lively. Who saw that? Like this whole thing where she's like, there's these people unwrapping her, and it's a whole crazy thing. Anyway, you should Google it. It's kind of funny. But tonight is not exactly the Met Gala. That's, I guess, what point I wanted to say. It's not the Met Gala in that it is not as elegant, it is not as getting as much attention from the press, but it actually, I think, is really more wonderful than the Met Gala, because we're here, what we're doing is acknowledging some really important things. So, no offense to the Eastwood Manor, it's not the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and we don't have the media here, although we do have Patrick, who's going to take photos of everybody, so he's like our built-in news folks. We are live streaming, so that's kind of exciting as well. Our evening is much more grounded and real than the Met Gala. And why is that? And that's because the people who will step up here to receive acknowledgments choose to help children start new lives in this country, to educate those who struggle, to repair families that are facing challenges, to help those who have made mistakes to find new paths, to recognize the value in all and seek to have them fully participate in the communities. This work, your work, matters. All of our honorees are worthy of recognition, praise, and gratitude. And let me start off by saying, you each have mine. So when you come up here, please do so proudly. And I want everyone else to join me in rooting each of you on, whether you're here or watching from home. As your name is called, remember that you are being seen by your peers, and frankly, nothing to me is more validating than recognition from coworkers, because they know how important your work is, they know your contributions to our organization, and they know the importance of your work to the people who we support. So to each of you who we're honoring tonight, whether it's for your length of service or for your exemplary service, I want to say resoundingly thank you. Thank you for choosing to serve to better the lives of others, and thank you for choosing to do it at Rising Ground. As we start, I also want to thank a few people who made tonight possible. Angela. I don't know, where's Alba? Alba is here. There's Alba. Naima, where are you? She stepped away. Naima. And most significantly, Nikesha Brown, who sadly has COVID and is homesick and watching us on the camera. Hello. For making the evening possible and for all the hard work you did. Every year, we're fortunate to have at least one board member come to join us. I just want to say that our board does tremendous work for us. They're all volunteers. They are the folks who keep us moving forward and on task. I was hoping that Susan Benedict, who is here tonight, many of you might know her from other engagements with us. Susan's going to say a couple words. Thank you for pitching in.
It's a long walk.
It's a long walk.
I think you all look exactly like you should be at the Met Gala. I don't agree with what Alan said. Anyway, I'm Susan Benedict, and I'm really here to represent the board because we are all so thankful and proud of all of you. I can't imagine you accomplishing all that you did during COVID for all the families and children that you serve. And we, as I say, representing the board, are so proud and happy to know you and honored that, as Alan said, you've chosen us to work for. So I know tonight people are here for their, going to be recognized for the excellence that they've done and also for their length of service. And as someone who, years ago, my hair wasn't this color when I started here, I appreciate personally all your dedication. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. Watch your step. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Susan. And Susan's been a longtime board member here, and her mother was a board member at Rising Ground as well. So it runs in the family. All right, so we're going to start with our Length of Service Awards. All of us at Rising Ground and the communities we support, and certainly the specific individuals who you work with, are fortunate that our colleagues have chosen a career path dedicated to the service of others. Some stay true to that path, and some stay true with it for a very long time, and with us. Those who stay with us for a long time, and tonight we've got people who have dedicated many years, those who stay with us a long time achieve the types of milestones we acknowledge tonight with length of service awards. They have wisdom, experience, and knowledge that allows us to be just that more successful in what we do. And they make it possible for things to go smoother for us. And they model, mentor, and guide the rest of us. I know I'd have to say that in the time that I've been here at Rising Ground, how often I hear and learn things from my colleagues because they just know better, because they've seen things, and that's really valuable. So we are all grateful. The fact that so many of our staff are achieving 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40-year anniversaries tonight are testaments to the agency's culture, something we should continue to nurture and cherish. In fact, this year, 141 of our colleagues are celebrating one of those milestone anniversaries. And 80 of the 140, or maybe I think 84 of you, are here tonight. Everybody who's a Length of Service Award recipient will receive a certificate, which will be over here, a pin. 5 and 10-year recipients will get a $75 gift certificate. 15 years and up will receive a $100 gift certificate, and those who are here with 25 years or more get flowers. So we've tried to get a good handle on who has joined us in person. Length of service recipients who are not here tonight are listed in your program. So we're not going to totally follow the program. So if we skip over a name, it's because they're not here with us tonight. But you will see their names in the program, and they were recognized in my email to everybody. They will receive their gift certificates and pins and gift cards at work. I'm going to try and make sure to get out there and deliver them myself if I can. I also want to call attention, by the way, to something we started this past year, our Diamond Club. That is a group who have worked at Rising Ground for more than 25 years. Right now, there are 42 people who have worked at Rising Ground more than 25 years. They had a separate luncheon in October, and they just received a bunch of nice individualized gifts. And tonight, of course, you pay attention, there are a bunch of new inductees into that group, as some of them make a new 25 years. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be calling everybody up one by one. We're going to go by groupings in by year. Of course, the number of 5-year recipients is the greatest, right? That takes a little bit of a long time. What I'd like people to do, when your name is called, if you go that way, stop with the lovely Angela and Ronnie, pick up your certificate, pin, gift certificate. Stop by with me, because I want to give you a nice handshake. If you're huggers and you want to hug, I'm a good hugger too, all great. And then, don't disappear. Congregate right here, and we're going to get one big picture of you all, and plus you'll be on front for a long period of time on the camera that's live streaming, all right? So that's your path, all right? So let's get going. You can feel free to acknowledge each other as it's happening. Just try to make sure that it's possible for me to call out the next name, right? So we can move it along as well. Let's have some fun along the way. All right, so the very first of our 5-year award recipients now, and we're gonna start with folks who work in IDD services. That's services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And the first person is Grace Adesaluka. Where's Grace? Come on, Grace. Be our first. Let's show. Where are you, Grace? There you go. Show us how it's, Grace, show us how it's done. Show us how, give us the walk that everybody's going to emulate from here on up. Grace is a direct support professional at a D residence. Congratulations, Grace. Oh, you actually wants a hug. I hope you're you're going to stay right here. Perfect. She might be a trendsetter too. The next person, Sharon Balgrove, who is also at a D residence. And joining her, because there's actually 3 people from a D who have 5 years of service, is Robin Brown. Robin Brown. Yes. Yeah, you want to hug too. So good to see you. Thank you so much for everything you do. Really appreciate it. Another 5-year award recipient, TJ Jolaoso. Sorry, TJ, I messed that up. Also from a D. You get your hug. Thank you so much for everything you do. I really appreciate you. I really do. Thank you. TJ, I blew it. I'm sorry. From Co-op City, Marlon Jones. Marlon, where are you? That's great. She's got beautiful earrings going on over there. She could have been at the Met Gala. Camille McPherson from 241st Street. Congratulations, sir. Thank you so much. Did we get there? All right. From Co-op City, Millicent Cerebor. Also from a D, Jatavia Severol. Stay over there, everybody. Congratulations. Laureen Williams from Hearst. No handshake. Congratulations, thank you very much. All right, we're skipping now out of IDD services to healthcare, home health homes. Patricia Barrett, a care manager. Way to go, Patricia. And with her also for 5 years, the wonderful Danielle Wynn, the program manager. Thank you so much. Heading over to the Biondi School, we've got Deborah Buney, who, by the way, is going to pop up later as one of our Excellence Award winners. Deborah. Thank you. A teacher assistant. Oh, and by the way, Deborah is a clinician at Biondi. A teacher assistant, Tiffany Cruz. Woo, my voice cracked. Tiffany Cruz. A teacher one-to-one, Erica Jimeno. Erica, yes. Our assistant principal at the Biondi School, Michael Green. Somebody who I spend a lot of time with and who's tremendous, and I adore her, our Executive Vice President for Education and Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Angela White. I really appreciate it very much. Thank you. Angela, you have like a little fan club here. Leaving the Biondi School as if one could. That felt good. That felt very nice. Leaving the Biondi School and switching to our early childhood programs from the Brownell School, preschool, Tiffany Pabon. And in the Children's Learning Center, head teacher Deanna Santiago. Hello, Deanna. Thank you so much. Yay! Thank you so much. Oh, I missed somebody. Ela Williams, also in IDD Services for Hearst, 5 years. All right, well, you've got a fan club, clearly. You got some good cheer and like a delayed acknowledgement. And it's Isla. All right, where were we? Were we still in the Beyondies? No, we're changing direction. We're going to our unaccompanied migrant child. Oh, you're like lined up. Like, look at that. There must be a lot of teachers in this group, right? Like everybody line up. Our unaccompanied migrant child program. That's an interesting program because we probably have a bunch of people who have worked in other places before, as well as folks who just started fresh. What do you want from me, Angela? What do you just? What?
Percy and Hernandez are here.
Okay. She's guiding me. Believe me, I would be lost without her. Okay, Raquel Cardenas, youth care worker. Danielle Enriquez, youth care worker. Cindy Maribel, case manager. Thank you so much. And one more, John Purgy, house manager. Congratulations. Thank you so much. All right, moving on. How are we going to do this? You guys are going to you guys going to do square dancing after this or something? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. No, really, thank you. Although that wouldn't be a bad idea, a little square dance. What do you guys know? What do you think? Like, or it's called the or electric slide or the Virginia Reel. What's the one? Yeah. All right. Youth and Family Justice. Our Youth and Family Justice programs. Several people we're acknowledging for 5 years. Tevin Denton, a youth counselor in our Limited Secure program. Nimitoli Adidi, a program coordinator in Plus Mentoring. Keisha Forchaney, a youth counselor in Limited Secure. Thank you so much. See, now you guys are mixing it up, right? You're like, I'm not going to follow the rest. I'm going to go in this end. Where was I? Okay. Alicia Hill, control room staff, limited secure program. Chaz Lines, aftercare case planner. Taryn Miller, group leader. Congratulations, thank you so much. Thank you. You are blazing new trails, aren't you, right now, right? Blaze new trails, I love it. Chawana Wright, a youth counselor and non-secure placement. It was very sweet, by the way. Chawana, you said some very sweet things when you heard that we were giving out a 5-year award about how grateful you were to be working at Rising Ground, and it was really nice to hear that. So thank you for saying those things. I want to just acknowledge that. And that was the folks from our Youth and Family Justice. Now we're turning to Family Foster Care. Administrative Supervisor, Danielle Jean-Baptiste. There you go. A social worker, Adalgiza Nunez. So this one's pretty good because we're now going to, I have to say that in acknowledging this next person, we're basically acknowledging the entire program because it's really only a very small program, and that is our Family Resource Center, our program coordinator, Joanna Menzueta. Joanna. And right now, a program that we only typically would have a lot of people, but this year it's just one, from the Residential Treatment Center, Ashante Matos, child care counselor. We are in the home stretch, just a few more here. In our... Okay, I got it there. Yep. Hello. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by to say hi to me. In PEM, our Quality Assurance Program, we have 2 folks who are celebrating 5 years. Crystal Moore, our Quality Management Analyst, who is a new mother. We were just talking about that. And recently married, too. And Tia Ward, the Director of Quality Management. Is Tia here? Did I see her? Maybe not. Okay, from Mother-Child Program, Donna Patrick, the Family Care Advocate. Donna? From our Early Head Start Program, Gypsis Rodriguez. Gypsis? In Human Resources, Alba Roman. There you go, Alba. You got some fans in the house, right? That's pretty good. And now 3 folks from, oh, you know what? That's not true. I found another RTC person. Hello, how are you? Good. Another RTC person. Eric Jenkins. Where are you, Eric? There you are. And our last 3 5-year award winners tonight, or award recipients tonight, are from the Preventive Services Program. There is Neome Bell, a caseworker. Yanira Fernandez, an intake worker. And Alexis Westheimer, a preventive case planner. So I get that there are not nearly as many people still sitting as we had before, but if the rest of us would just, oh, come get that handshake. I appreciate that. I love it. Thank you. If the rest of us can just really, with one big hoot and holler for these folks who served 5 years at Rising Ground, let's get up. Okay, so here's where it gets a little difficult, everybody. We're going to all come together in a big blob right here, and Patrick is going to try to take a big, giant picture of all of us.
Let's make the blob like right here.
Okay? If you're short, if you are less tall, you get to go in the back. It's true. It's true. It's all right. I'm not a celebrant, but I will pop in.
Everyone just keeps smiling. I'm very concerned about what they're doing with their face. She's right there in front.
Thank you, folks, 5-year folks. Thank you, sir. Thank you, 5-year folks. Okay, so that was the biggest group. I heard somebody in the audience say, while Patrick was taking the photo, I heard somebody say, "That's nice." Like they were right, okay. It was nice. It was like a simple sentence that says, "That's nice," sometimes carries real meaning, and I want to elevate what you just said there. It's really nice. It's nice to see these people. It's nice to think about what they do. It's nice to see them together. So you are right. That was nice. Very, very nice. All right. 10 years, a decade. That's a lot. That's a lot. And it's a smaller group, and we are happy to acknowledge all of them. So we're going to bounce around a little bit. First, somebody who's moved from from child care worker to manager, actually. Samira Anderson, the house manager. At the Biondi School, a teacher assistant, Ivy Bazemore. Where's Ivy? Nope. You stay up here, right? Don't let, yeah. From Access and Referral, our intake coordinator, Chelsea Beckett. Chelsea. There you go, Chelsea. Excellent. From Mother-Child Program, our family care advocate, with us for 10 years, Tamiko Brown. Tamiko. A direct support professional. Oh, wait, let me just say hello to Chelsea Beckett. Oops. Watch your step on that. Whoops. Direct support professional in Co-op City, Elrit Carr. Where's Elrit? Are you there? Yes, there you are. I knew it. All right, I want you to see she's wearing a beautiful, beautiful that is a beautiful gown, right? I didn't choose the Metropolitan Gala unwisely. There are some people here who are wearing beautiful things. It's just lovely to see. Okay, so, In our limited support program, somebody who moved around a bit, she started in the mother-child program, then to the RTC, then the child care counselor, and now recently promoted from case aide to assistant director, the assistant director of our limited secure program, Chantel Cowart. You look so terrific. Really, it's so beautiful to see you. Thank you so much. In our residential treatment center, who's also moved up in a couple of different spaces, Marla Darby, our life skills coordinator. I know that physical therapy is helping you. It's all great. It's all good. Where did I go? Let me just get a hug in there while you're standing. Right?
Okay, yeah, okay. No problem.
Really appreciate you. She was one of our employees of the month this year from the residential treatment center, a shift leader, Cheyenne Degree. Where is she? Somebody who moved up as well into a leadership role, and one of the things that we do very, very well at Rising Ground is that we do promote from within. The percentage of our staff, who are in leadership roles, who started out in other positions at their agency, is very, very high. She's now the house manager of the mother-child program, Marvisha Gordon. Marvisha. Also, somebody moved up a bit here in PEM, in our quality assurance or quality management program. She is the IMU. Hello, Marvisha. Hold on. Thank you so much. IMU manager, Betsy Pabone. I get to interact a little bit every once in a while with Betsy, so that's always a good thing to see. So, welcome, Betsy. He does security and support staff in the residential treatment center, Orlando Ramos. Sir, thank you. There's a reason he does security. I just want to say that. Flung my little body all over the place there. In IDD Services, 233rd Street. In fact, somebody who just participated, I just want to acknowledge this because she just participated. We just had a work group that was trying to help figure out ways that we could do better in recruiting and retaining new staff, and she was really, I understand, gave a lot of amazing insights. She is at 233rd in the medical support professional, direct support professional, Chiquetta Smith. Chiquetta. Where are you? There you are. And last but not least, among our individuals who have been here for 10 years, the driver for the Family Foster Care Program, Dexter Squires. Dexter. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's give it up for folks who have worked for 10 years here at Rising Ground. So, 10-year folks, given that the 5-year folks seem to have pulled that off really, really well, if you guys can form a little pod together, Patrick's going to take a picture of all of us. All right, thank you all. Let's give it up for our 10-year folks. All right, 15 years of service. Some really wonderful people. In our family foster care program, he is a reunification specialist. No, they had a little huddle over there. That's all good. Sorry, I started too soon. 15-year, folks. 15 years of service. Reunification specialist in family foster care, Jose Bonilla. Jose. Behavior intervention specialist. He started as a direct support professional, went on to get advanced degrees. Taryn Brown. Taryn. I really appreciate you so much. Stay up here and start the... A direct support professional in IDD services in Riverside, Dwayne McCullum. Thank you. Direct support professional in Hearst, Adrian Phillips. Adrian. Supervisor, just promoted to supervisor, I should say, in preventive services, Paulette Howell. And last but not least, in human resources specialist, the lovely Catherine Waters. Catherine. So join me, please, in congratulating and thanking folks who have done 15 years of service. So, I don't know, Patrick, where's Patrick? So I have a question. At 15 years, do we make them come to you, or do you go to them? That's just a question. He wants them to go to him. Wow, wow. And apparently working for 15 years doesn't really come to a hill of beans, does it?
There's a pool of lighting.
There's lighting. Okay, there's lighting there. All right. It's all about the lighting. Well, that's true. It's all about the lighting. That's a very good truth. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. All right. 20 years. That's impressive. That is impressive. 20 years of service here at Rising Ground. There are several individuals tonight that we're going to acknowledge. She works now in our Article 29 mental health clinic. Psychiatrist Jacqueline Callejas. In our health services, mental health coordinator, Joy Marshall. Dr. Callejas, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Please. There's Joy coming up. In the Biondi School, a floor captain, 20 years with Rising Ground at the Biondi School, Dawn Johnson. I don't know if I saw her, but also in support at Biondi School, Yumeki Poole. Miss Poole here? I see her? Miss Poole, I didn't see you till now. Hello, hello. Also at the Biondi School. So we have a nice little run here. This is like 60 years of service, this 3 of you. That's cool. When you walk in the door of Biondi School, Miss Poole is often one of the first people you see there. Pretty much, most of the time. Not anymore. I haven't been there in a little while, apparently. Well, all right, well, I'll have to learn more about that. I'll figure that out. All right, so often considered the rock of Biondi School because of his really tremendous work with the young people there as Dean of Students, Mr. Scott Washington. And in our Justice for Youth and Families division, he is the administrator on duty. He was at Woodfield, secure detention for a long time, I think at the RTC, at some point too. Wonderful, wonderful, strong person, Anthony Mattis. I want to say, just as Mr. Mattis is coming up, while he's stopping to hug the HR staff, I wanted to say, when I just greeted him earlier, and it was like I had sort of first walked in the room, and it made me, he made me energized in the way that a lot of you do. And through his mask, I could just see this, he is beaming. His smile is perfect and wide and big. And I asked him how he is, and he's like, I'm blessed to be doing this work. And then what he told me, which I thought was really funny, is that he uses TCI and SCM, thank you, on his wife and kids, which I thought was very, very funny. So anyway, I love that. I love that. Anyway, can we please give a big round acknowledgement to our 20-year effect? So if you would, as a group, come to the spotlight that Patrick has selected for you. Yeah, I know. It's a tough group. It's a tough group. So all of these individuals that I'm about to call up now, there's 5 of them. There are 5 of them. 25 years, I know each of them. Their impact is very clear to me at our organization. We made a joke about the flowers, so this is the beginning of the folks who get flowers, so that's kind of exciting. And these 5 individuals are our newest inductees into our Diamond Club, so that's exciting as well. We first begin in a residential treatment center. She had been at the Biondi School, then she went to, now she's doing like purchasing management, and the person who I know people there think about as the one who holds it all together in terms of an organizational perspective, it is the very wonderful Charmin Jones. You see him everywhere. He's a very, when I think of him, I think of somebody who's just got a very peaceful aura about him, and that's very important in our school environment. He works in the support side of things. Mr. Roxwell Massop. Walk that walk. Walk that walk. you might want to do the wave when you do the walk also, the wave. Thank you, Constance. You were wonderful. Somebody who I have just a profound amount of respect for. I work a good deal with her. I don't know how she keeps a very, very challenging program together and doing so well. She is the Vice President for our Family Foster Care Program, Ms. Deborah McCall. Somebody else who I have a great deal of respect for, for a long, long time, she handled all the intake stuff, that's intake of person supported, and then when we opened our unaccompanied migrant child program, she started as the assistant director. That program has grown. She has grown with it. She is now the vice president of the Passage of Hope, Lisa Quinones. In our health home care management side of things, but previous to this was in Head Start and then moved to care management. Just a great person. The care management, Milagros Vasquez. So there you have it. 5 individuals who have served Rising Ground for 25 years. Let's do it. All right, let's get a picture of you guys in the light. He won't accept anything less. You must promenade towards him. All right. So this year, it actually works out. We're up to 30 years now. And I'm going to say this about each of the next 3 individuals. They are each in a class of their own. They're each in a class of their own. And why are that? Is because there's actually only one of them in each of these classes. So that's pretty interesting. So, celebrating 30 years at Rising Ground, he is the head of the PEM department, quality management as other people know it. He has built that program from really nothing, and it is an important part about the work we do. It is a place that assures that we are among the best performing organizations in New York City in virtually everything we do. People who work for him always have good things to say. I am grateful to have his counsel. He's our Senior Vice President, Jose Reyes. So gather all your colleagues together. Jose, it's impressive you were able to organize all the 30 years. You really got it. 35 years. I like him very much, to start. Yeah, I know. Yeah, because he's really an affable guy. He is just, right, like an easy, affable, likable person who is deeply grounded. I mean, I don't mean to say that I've never seen him get like flustered or angry, but the truth of the matter is, under most circumstances, this is a person in face of whatever is going on is able to keep it calm and get stuff done. And he gets people to do things that make us better, and he fixes problems, and I find him just so dependable and reliable, which are maybe characteristics that people don't pay enough attention to, but I think are just so important. He's a beautiful human being. He is our Senior Vice President for Foster Care, Carlton Mitchell. So for 40 years, this next person has dedicated her life's work to young people, students, and she's been with us when we were just talking about a couple minutes ago, actually, when the Biondi School didn't even exist in its own building. In fact, for those of you who know the campus, it was located where the Ames Center is. She has been a truly foundational rock to our school program. She's been there through so many different changes and iterations. She herself has gone back. She was a teacher assistant and gone back, just talking about that actually as well, gone back to get her degrees and a master's and is a teacher. She's been trauma informed before people were talking about really what trauma was about and the impact it has on kids. Her commitment to our students is ever present. She's tireless, and she is truly valued. Please give it up for our teacher, Ava Shepard. Before we get to our Employee Excellence Awards, I want to just acknowledge our Employees of the Month. This is a program we started in 2017. Every month, typically, we acknowledge 2 employees across the organization from different departments. You guys all see those emails that go out with photos. These individuals are actually selected by their colleagues, and their names are all listed in, their names are all listed in the programs. I am going to just call out the names of the folks who are here tonight, but all of them, in addition to their honoree, their honor that they received previously, will receive an additional $50 gift certificate. And keep your eyes out, because 2 of them, as they are every year, will be our Employees of the Year. So pay attention for them. So let's just go through the folks who are here this evening and have them come up. From our Passage of Hope program, Case Manager Miriam Gonzalez. Youth Counselor in Justice for Youth and Families, Sean McKelvey. Parent Advocate in our Family Foster Care program, Maya Marshall. Direct Support Professional in IDD Services, Jaquetta Keynes. Thank you so much. Passage of Hope Community Educator, Passage of Hope Intake Recreation Coordinator, Sasha Saldana. I'm sorry? No, we could, doesn't matter. Shift Leader for the Residential Treatment Center, Cheyenne Degree. Excuse me 1 second. Assistant Manager of Pre-Vocational Employment for IDD Services, Erica Concepcion. And Youth Care Counselor for Bensonhurst Limited Secure Placement, Martin Farrell. This time this way. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now we come to the last of our awards, which are our Employee Excellence Awards. Our Employee Excellence Awards. And there are 8 of them. 4 of them are tied to our core values: accountability, connection, tenacity, and service, the acronym ACTS. Rooted in the unshakable belief in every individual's ability to grow and change, Rising Ground values accountability, connection, tenacity, and service as we help children, adults, and families pursue their dreams and goals. So there'll be 4 awards there. There'll be 1 award for managerial excellence. There'll be another award in innovation, and then there'll be our 2 Employees of the Year selected from among the 24 Employees of the Month. So I wanted to point out that there were 453 nominations by our peers. 453 of our employees nominated a total of 185 individuals for these awards, which is amazing. Their name will be put on a plaque, which actually I need to understand we may need to have moved where the plaque is, but we will find out where the plaque goes. There's a permanent plaque that says the award recipients. They will receive a certificate and a $100 gift card. In this case, I'm going to call each individual up. They're going to stand here while I embarrass them by saying nice things about them. Yeah, that's how that's going to go. It's that simple. All right, so our first award is in accountability. Let me, just before I begin, read the definition of accountability that all of us have seen and learned here at Rising Ground. Accountability is central to our work and all that we do as employees of Rising Ground. Through team meetings across the organization, we have defined accountability in many ways, including but not limited to ethical behavior, personal responsibility, and accountability to others, person-supported and staff, integrity, reliability, fidelity, fiduciary responsibility, and showing up and doing what needs to be done. I'd like to call up now Gerald Best. Gerald, will you come up? Now you come here. So, kind sir, stay right here. No, don't go away. You got to come, stay right here. This is how it's going to be. Everybody's going to be looking at you. They're all going to be looking at you as we talk, right? All right, so Gerald Best. Gerald Best is a youth care counselor in the Residential Treatment Center. In preparing remarks about these individuals, I've asked other people to help give me some information along the way. And so a lot about what I am saying is either coming from the nominations themselves or what other people say. So, Mr. Best, people say you are very hands-on, that a few colleagues have spoken of your ability to empathize and connect with the kids in the residential treatment center. The youth in your cottage have said that they feel lucky to have you as their staff. I was listening actually this past Thursday to a podcast about how many people were processing the loss, the death of over 1 million Americans who died to COVID. And I was thinking about this story that was shared about you and your work during that time. Specifically, a few months ago, you were assigned to work as a one-to-one with a young person in Arnstein Cottage, where the young person was quarantined after contracting COVID. Other youth in the cottage also contracted the virus. And this young man felt very guilty because he thought that he was responsible for them all having this illness, that he gave it to the other boys. And that must have been really hard for him, right? And just like it's hard for all of us who have thought about people who have gotten the virus. So you worked with him. You were so empathetic and so supportive of the rest of the boys to ensure that their relationships were all maintained and that they went on to not only recover from the illness, but to be connected to each other beyond that time. Another colleague noted that they admired that you were able to correct your wrongs, which of course made me wonder, I wonder what wrongs they're talking about, but I thought that would not be appropriate to ask at the moment. But I then gave more thought to that after the little joke there. I thought, I was really struck that somebody would have chosen to highlight that about you. Because the truth is, the ability to correct one's wrongs is a really wonderful trait and is in fact the foundation of accountability. Co-workers note that you are always willing to stay back and make sure everything is taken care of. Others share that they can hear your boisterous voice wherever you go. Some actually tease you about it, I understand. But generally, they all take comfort in the fact that they can hear you. So finally, somebody simply noted that Gerald Best, I wasn't going to do this, but somebody wrote it, and I'm sure you got teased as a little kid. But basically, they say you live up to your name, which is a really beautiful thing to say when your name is Best. So, because those among us who care for others, who step in when needed, and who take responsibility for themselves, others, and the environment around us, are the foundations not just of a well-run program, but are people upon whom we all so deeply depend and are worthy of praise, it is most fitting that we honor Gerald Best with the Employee Excellence Award for 2022 in Accountability. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Thank you. I think they're going to give you your award. Okay. And they're going to take your picture. All right. While his picture is being taken, we are next going to pivot to the Employee Excellence Award in Connection. I'm going to let him get his due there. So, let me just let me read to you the definition of connection here at Rising Ground. Connection is central to our work and all that we do as employees of Rising Ground. Through team meetings across the organization, we define connection in many ways, including, but not limited to, connection to persons supported, families, community, the organization, and each other. We highlight communication, collaboration, engagement, and teamwork. Rhonda Drakes, will you please come up? Hi, Rhonda.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Rhonda, stay close to me.
Okay.
All right. So, Rhonda. Oh, Rhonda. People really do like you. They really do, actually. And it's somebody who gets to see a little bit of Rhonda because she doesn't work that far from my office. I could totally appreciate that. They like you, they appreciate you. And it's really actually no wonder that you are receiving this award that highlights the organization value of connection. You are referred to as dependable, supportive, fabulous Rhonda. Your presence and kindness are immediately felt as you enter the room. You make others feel welcome. You are described, I'm sorry, I should have said what Rhonda's title and where she works. I totally apologize for not doing that. She is the office manager of our intimate partner and gender-based violence services. Sorry. You are described as the invisible hand, always checking in and the repository of critical information upon which others rely. Your colleagues speak of the support that they get from you. handling reports, traveling all over the place. I understand you're always driving everywhere. Working with multiple people. And for me, you've always come up to me and say, what can I do for you, Alan? Like continually. And I'm always like, I don't know what you can do for me. But you're always doing that, and I really appreciate it. And I know that you do that everywhere you go. You truly pitch in to help. An example could be driving out to Westchester from Brooklyn to pick up donations so that the Just Us program can host a holiday market. Or picking up coats on a rainy evening so they can be distributed to families in need. Or delivering donated Chromebooks to our children and youth who have no technology during the pandemic. One colleague mentioned that the most often response to request to Rhonda is, no problem. Just another highlighted your wonderful laugh and smile. She's like, I can't do that now, I'm nervous. And your strength and conviction in making sure things are done properly. For example, over a weekend a few months ago, Rhonda helped a survivor of intimate partner violence to safely exit a difficult situation. She found this individual shelter and had made sure she had resources, including a gift card, diapers and supplies for a child, and transportation until the work week began and there were other resources to be had. It's obvious to all that you care about your work, whether it's the Relationship Abuse Prevention Program, RAP, or Early RAP, Just Us, Community Services, or the STEPS Criminalized Survivor Program. Rhonda is eager to support the work on behalf of survivors. For example, she did and continues to do a tremendous job processing requests for pandemic and other emergency assistance funds so many survivors of intimate partner violence. A young person in the Relationship Abuse Program stated, Rhonda is, quote, the woman who makes things happen. There you go. So, Rhonda, as we all know, success in our work with others depends on each of us playing our part. We also know that we rely on a few critical players to pull things together. One of those critical players in our organization is Rhonda Drakes. Because if one were to diagram the efforts of the various anti-intimate partner violence, gender-based violence services with dots and lines, Rhonda, you would be a dot with many lines coming from it, many, many connections. It is both profoundly appropriate and deeply gratifying to award Rhonda Drakes the Employee Excellence Award in Connection for 2022. Rhonda Drakes. All right, we now move to our Tenacity Award. Yes. Let me first define what tenacity is here at our organization. Tenacity is central to our work and all that we do as employees of Rise and Ground. Through team meetings across the organization, we have defined tenacity in many ways, including but not limited to grit, creativity, commitment, thinking smart, patience, spunk, initiative, drive, dedicated to overcoming obstacles, resourcefulness, and never giving up. Please come up, Marlene Cancel. You're the bomb, Marlene Cancel. Thank you. All right, stay close to me, Marlene. Stay close to me. All right, Marlene is the housing. Oh, come closer, come closer. Come closer. There we go. Well, they might not. Well, I want them to see you too. So, so you are the housing and community resource specialist at the Family Foster Care Program. Marlene wears many hats. Sometimes she's a private investigator. Think maybe Sherlock Holmes. I don't know. She successfully tracks down and finds missing parents and family members, and your efforts have more than once helped children in foster care achieve permanency through reunification or adoption, like not knowing that there were people out there. That's amazing. It's amazing. And those are life-changing events that happen, those reconnections. Another hat, you are a resource specialist in the truest sense of the word. Her colleagues say that Marlene can find any service that our children or parents may need. And it's a big city, and there are lots of needs, and Marlene is able to navigate that. Other hats that you wear, you're an inspirer and a supporter. She can convince a foster parent that once said no to caring for a child with behavioral challenges to say yes, and then she backs them up as they do. Marlene is a true supporter to our foster parents. Marlene is the type of person who can, before you can say the words, "I need help," she's already there with the assistance you need. She is resourceful, dependable, always willing to lend a hand, and always with a positive attitude and smile. When others give up, Marlene does not. Instead, she will continue to explore and look for ways to achieve the desired outcomes. Here is a great story about Marlene. There was a boy in foster care. After a year, the father was located living in Puerto Rico. While case planners had made efforts to reunite the child with the father, it just wasn't successful. It wasn't working out. You know what story I'm talking about. Okay. But Marlene was introduced to the case, and she reached out to the dad, and she reached out to the Department of Social Services in Puerto Rico to complete a clearance and a home assessment. And even though that work happened, the reunification did not take place. All right. A few years passed because Marlene was not finished, right? She's like, that ain't going to work for me. She remained in contact with the father and continued to facilitate communication between father and son. The young boy, had many placement disruptions and was finally placed in our residential treatment center. Marlene was still involved. She had not given up. Finally, in October 2021, the court ordered the child to visit his dad in Puerto Rico for Thanksgiving. Who went with the child? Marlene. The visit went well, and the court granted custody to dad. Marlene then went back again with the youth to Puerto Rico to be with the father. And they've been together and are doing well. She remains in contact with the father and son. You continue to provide support to them as needed. The father calls on Marlene when the youth is in crisis, and you guide them on how to walk through the situation. Your belief in this family is strong, and you fought for them, and they are better for it. So, whereas, Marlene, we desperately need people who don't readily throw in the towel, who keep their eye on the prize, and who in our line of work know that what is best for children, adults, and families is that we are always relentlessly fighting for them. It is a great pleasure to bestow upon the indefatigable, look that word up everybody, indefatigable, Marlene Cancel, the Employee Excellence Award winner for 2022 in Tenacity. Marlene. Who knows what indefatigable means? Seriously? Indefatigable means never getting tired. All right. In service. Let us define first what service means here at Rising Ground. Service is central to our work and all that we do as employees of Rising Ground. Through team meetings and across the organization, we have defined service in many ways, including but not limited to being client-focused, compassion, respectful of the work and of others, being person-supported. Please come up, Lisa Carabajo. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's talk about Lisa. Don't go too far away. Let's talk about Lisa. She's in a Passage of Hope unaccompanied migrant child program, and she's a clinician. All right, so Lisa, for you, we got different nominations from a lot of different places. So that was kind of interesting, and people nominated her for different awards, and because folks saw you as worthy in many different categories. So that was very intriguing. So actually, what's kind of interesting that you're off this week, aren't you? You're not supposed to be working this week.
Right.
Right. Why is she off this week? is because Lisa is getting married this weekend. So I am just thrilled that this is a little bit extra special day in an already extra special week for you. So lucky to be having that time with you. So colleagues talk about you as being bright and fun and the big party planner.
That's right.
That's right, she says. You dress up in character for various holidays, holiday celebrations, Halloween. There was a big LGBTQ event that was being done with the kids. Somebody recalled that you sat in one of your clinical case management meetings dressed as a clown, apparently, fully drawn up.
Yeah, I scared a lot of people that
That
day.
you scared a lot of people. Lisa is very creative about how she engages our kids that are all too, our kids, like we're talking about young people who have just traveled far distances and experienced really a lot of trauma, both at home and on the trip and you often, they really just spoke about how creative you are about engaging kids who are often guarded and lack trust of in adults. Your work and commitment rarely ends at 5 p.m. You are quick to jump in to meet your newly assigned cases, even when we have other clinical staff who could take care of it on weekends. In fact, you are known to assist other clinicians in completing new admission assessments if they are having challenges in meeting a deadline. Other co-workers highlight your open-mindedness and your eagerness to learn. You're described as humble and caring. Lisa uses art as a tool to engage and support youth that otherwise would not have an outlet to express the stressors of being separated from family, home, and country. Others described you as always a gracious team player, willing to roll up your sleeves and to create events, activities or projects for the children and staff in the Passage of Hope program, including fundraisers that have allowed the program to go beyond what the federal government is willing to provide. Co-workers are grateful that you always make yourself available and demonstrate an incredible amount of flexibility. One said that she appreciates that you keep others on task with kind and friendly email reminders. So apparently it has the impact you want. You are described as a strong advocate for children and praised for creating space for them to vocalize any concern in a manner that is appropriate and respectful. One person, in talking about you, simply said, this is a quote, "We are all so thankful to have Lisa on our team." So, therefore, as we know that it takes energy and spirit along with creativity, and in the case of clinical work, strong clinical skills, to continue to motivate and inspire colleagues and create space for young people on a difficult journey to feel safe and to heal. And because Lisa has all these qualities, compassion, drive, and skill, we are pleased to award Lisa Carabejo the Employee Excellence Award in 2022 in service, Lisa Carabejo. As Lisa takes care of her award and gets photographed, we now turn to our Managerial Excellence Award. I'd like to, let me first just mention what it says about the awards when people were doing them. Strong managers are effective and efficient. They encourage staff to succeed and model our agency's core values of accountability, connection, tenacity, and service for the benefit of their employees, their programs, departments, our organization, and the people we serve. Please come up, Lily Prasad. Enjoy you, Lily Prasad. All right. Lily, as many of you should know, is our manager of payroll. So, you touch a lot of people at the organization, Lily. Anyone who can begin to picture what Lily goes through on a bi-weekly basis to make sure that all 1,400 of us are paid, and that she does, in addition to the obstacles that come her way, such as inclement weather, or holidays, or technical glitches, knows that Lily is among the most dedicated employees in our organization, and that she is quite simply an unsung hero. Lily works hard to ensure that each payroll is accurate and timely. To most people, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it really is. There's 1,400 of us, and there's a lot of numbers and there's hours and time cards. And if that isn't enough, I'd have to say that we often make her job as hard as we possibly can. Staff who don't punch in or don't punch out, managers who don't do the appropriate approvals and you know who you are, or folks who just use the wrong code. And then there are payroll changes that pop up, Lily, am I right? Yes. Salary adjustments, special payments, or people working in more than one department and not knowing where we charge it off to. Or overtime. And to make sure, and somebody needs to make sure that those payroll action forms, those little forms that you have to get put in place, that the information gets from the form into the system so everything goes right. Honestly, it is mind-boggling to think that things don't fall apart all the time. It's really mind-boggling. And yet, I know that people focus on the few things that go wrong. But the truth is, it's a very small portion of things. Lily checks that every working hour in the pay period is accurate and accounted for. Staff often come to her with questions or concerns. And I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but sometimes some of them are not as gracious when errors occur. Well, Lily isn't the cause of the problem. She is often having to fix it and the one who bears the brunt of someone's displeasure. Lily must track down managers for missing information. And there's always a deadline. Every 2 weeks, there is a moment that if she does not transmit that payroll, we do not get paid. And one can only imagine how we would all feel if the money wasn't in our accounts. It is not uncommon for Lily to work a full day in the office and then work remotely into late hours into the night to make sure payroll is correct and all associated reports are completed. Yet she never complains. Her only concern is to get it done accurately. Lily rarely takes a vacation and only takes off an occasional day off on non-payroll weeks, and never more than 2 days. While that she is offering telling staff that they are maxing out on their accrued time, including telling me that, I don't believe that you listen to your own advice, and during your 33 years at Rising Ground, I suspect that you have lost some time. I want to share one Lily story. At the start of each new calendar year, it's a very busy time in payroll. First, you have to close out the year prior and make sure that we each get our W-2 forms by the end of January, so people can do their taxes. This past January, Lily tested positive for COVID. Despite having a fever and a bad cold, Lily remained concerned that she was not going to get the work done. She took a lot of the work home. She worked from home on Friday, came into the office on Saturday when no one is around, and then stayed behind a locked door. And in addition to working on those W-2s, it was also a payroll week. So she was doing W-2s from the previous year and the pay period that we were currently in. And she did it without an assistant. We were short-staffed, and we were looking for somebody. Our MIS team delivered a computer to her house and walked her through setting it up. They finally got everything up and running from her house around 5 o'clock on Tuesday. Lily worked through the night to complete everything, and every one of us got paid that Friday, and we got our W-2s on time later in the month. So, to add to all that I've just said about her in terms of her ability to manage payroll, I often hear from those who have supervised her that they learned so much from her, not just about the ins and outs of payroll management, but on the ways to support staff through the process. So, because being a good manager requires drawing on seamless ending reservoir of fortitude, Lily, being able to meet competing demands, and having a full appreciation of your role and the impact that you and your team has on others, and because you quite simply we could not manage without, we are pleased, more accurately, I am humbled, to award Lily Prasad with the Employee Excellence Award in 2022 in Managerial Excellence. Lily. Lily. All right, got 3 more awards to go, and then we are finished. This is our Innovation Award. This award recognizes and rewards employees or a group of employees who, through their own initiative, create a process that improves the organization and its services. I'd like to call up 2 individuals, Deborah Buney and Caitlin Scott. Deborah and Caitlin. All right. So Deborah is a clinician. Deborah, Caitlin. And Caitlin is a speech-language pathologist, both at the Biondi School, or together at the Biondi School. So let me tell you about their innovation. Let me tell you about their innovation. Caitlin and Deb are the co-chairs of the PBIS committee. That stands for, at the middle and high schools of the Biondi School. PBIS stands for Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports, and is an evidence-based framework for integrating data, outcomes, and supports so that students are more successful. These 2 volunteered to take on the daunting task of restoring and revamping our PBIS work in the school. They have come up with innovative ways to get staff and student buy-in. They took the PBIS work from a class-by-class effort to a whole school approach, where the positive behavior of everyone goes to reward the entire school. They, along with members of the school's PBIS team, organized an on-task Olympics and there were weekly raffles for both staff and students, supporting the adults to lift up each student and the students themselves. They took a new look at the program that had been used in the school for many years, and thought about how they can do better serve the entire school population. The team implemented a new school-wide raffle, reward system with engaging lesson plans and assemblies, and they incorporated technology. They involved students and staff in the decision-making process, and then publicly recognized and rewarded staff participation. The end result, staff in all roles at the school have become more involved and invested in rewarding student behaviors. Staff are using unified language to praise students' behaviors, and students are reporting that they are proud of their behaviors and look forward to the events showcasing their success. I wanted to say that I was just chatting with Mr. Green about, I mentioned it, and he's the assistant principal. You met him before when he got the 5-year award. And his face lit up. He's like, oh no, this is a really big deal what they did. It's a transformative change that has happened in our school. So, while Deborah and Caitlin will point out that their work has been a team effort, which undoubtedly it was, people worked with you, we all know that it's typically a select few who either come up with or harness the ideas to lead to change. We also know that sensible efforts can have a ripple and wonderful impact. Therefore, we are pleased to acknowledge both Deborah Buney and Caitlin Scott, their work in stepping up our PBIS program and helping our students to be more effective in their work, and our staff to be more effective in their work, and our students to be more successful as learners and members of our school community with the Employee Excellence Award in Innovation for 22. Deborah and Caitlin. Thank you. And while they receive their acknowledgement and photograph, we are now going to pivot to our last 2 awards for the evening, and those are our Employee Excellence Awards. As I mentioned to you, the Employee Excellence Awards are given to individuals who had received Employee of the Month awards. Let me first call up Erica Concepcion, Assistant Manager. And this time, Erica, you come here. Now, I know. The other time is all different. This is the time to come right here.
Thank do.
Thank you. All right, so Erica is the assistant manager of the pre-vocational employment program in IDD services. I'm just going to read a couple of things that people have said about you. Erica, you are thought of as being wholly committed to our mission. What a nice thing somebody said about you.
I know, right?
All right, wholly committed in support of people, work with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. You have spent the last 5 years, remember she was, well, that's not true. So the last 5 years as a direct support professional in our work readiness program.
Mm-hmm.
Before being recognized this year for your leadership and skills, you were promoted to assistant manager. Another example of promoting from within. In addition to your primary function, you also spend your Saturdays working in our supplemental group day hab program, serving children and young adults, and her weekday evenings doing community rehabilitation work with another young man. A story that exemplifies your dedication and excellence is your work with a woman named Maria.
Yes.
Through regular communication, Erica understood that Maria really wished to live more independently in the community. Erica took the lead and facilitated a dream becoming a reality. She advocated within Rising Ground. We have a separate program, not the one that Maria works in, that does housing subsidy work, about explaining why you thought that Maria was the right person to move up in this opportunity. You were also able to instill confidence in Maria so that she was able to make this leap. Maria has recently been approved to move into her own apartment, and if it wasn't for your passion and persistence, Erica's dream would not have occurred. According to those around you, Erica, your person-supported focus and work and leadership style are the embodiment of what employee excellence means, and the IDD department and Rising Ground are extremely extremely fortunate to have you. So, because to recognize the value in all and to work to ensure that others may fully participate in their communities and live the life they choose is noble and worthy of praise. And because you embody all the best in doing this work, caring, thoughtfulness, clarity, and determination, we are pleased to acknowledge Erica Concepcion as one of our 2 Employees of the Year in 2022. Erica, don't go away. Go there. While Erica is getting her due, it's time for us to call up our last award recipient, and after this, there will be cake. Please come up, Martin Farrell. Mr. Farrell. I am great. All right. Martin Farrell is a youth care counselor in the Bensonhurst Limited Secure Placement Program. At the Carroll Street Limited Secure Placement Program. It's a long night. The young men at Carroll Street Limited Secure Program wait a second. I've gotten some incorrect information. Sorry, excuse me 1 second. Lisa, can you come up for a split second? I need a little whisper in my ear. One moment, please. Okay, I thought I made a big boo-boo, but not true. Okay. The young men at the Carroll Street Limited Secure Program are called scholars. So rather than young men, they're called scholars. And they refer to Martin as the father figure to our scholars. He's acknowledging that that is true. I understand that you came to work for us after 15 years of experience working with justice-involved youth and families, right? Yeah, okay. Martin works the AM shift, the morning shift, but apparently you can be seen wherever, whenever you are needed. On your days off, you volunteer to come in and support the program. When we are short-staffed, you come back to assist on the floor and to cook. Are you a good cook? Yes. He says, yes, I am a good cook. He was like, no, I'm definitely a good cook. He sets the structure for the day with our scholars. Although he may receive some pushback sometime from some of them, he always maintains his cool and he gets the young men on track. Martin works in the school as well, and he assists the scholars when they are struggling. He always encourages them to do their best and lets them know that you can only do better if you try. Martin is hands-on with our scholars, playing table tennis, card games, listening to rap lyrics. When the barber comes to arrive at this facility, Martin manages to get some of the young men to get the same kind of haircut that he has, which apparently I subscribe to too, so I'm all down with that. I've heard you described as nothing short of exceptional, and your colleagues concur that you are invaluable to a strong program available to the men at Carroll Street. So, whereas every team needs an exemplar of what it means to give it one's all, and the young men, the scholars who come to the LSP, need positive role models, and both staff and scholars find the very best in Martin, we are pleased to acknowledge Martin Farrell as one of our Employees of the Year in 22, Martin Farrell. So while Martin gets his due over there, they are about to serve dessert and coffee. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. I want to thank you for all the things that you've done for Rising Ground and continue to do. I am, again, happy to be here with you. Thank you for spending the evening with me. Have a good night. I don't know, but all good.
We're all good. I'll take all of these
All-
except yours. Do you
yeah.
want to keep that, right?
No, you can do
I
anything you
keep
want.
them?